Good day to you all.
Good day, good day. How are you, Ethan?
Perfect, and you?
Yeah, very well. What's the message for today, please?
Living in a state of knowing. Before we start, before we deliver the information to bring forward, we would ask you specifically, what is it like to live in a state of knowing?
To live in a state of knowing is to flow, to not have be able to think about something, but just to n- just do the next thing out of knowing. It just happens. Flow in time and space. Allow things to happen. Allow what needs to happen with ease and grace.
We would add to go beyond even that understanding. You have the idea of instinct, you have the idea of things that happen automatically, beyond the idea specifically of just letting it be in the flow. Your actions are automatic. Living in that state of knowing, truly living in the state of knowing, is a state where things are pure and simple. You are in that supreme positive state where you allow yourself to be in a state of knowing, to open yourself up to the greater aspect, because you know what is coming next for you is pure and unadulterated bliss. And you know that in each moment, when things show up in the way they need to, will be what is right for you in the moment, and it allows you to flow and the way that you described. For us in our civilization, because we act off the idea of excitement, much as the Bachar has spoken of for many years of your time, yours of your understanding, you, as a being, if you truly follow through with this particular thought process, you move and interact and allow yourself to be more or less in the channeling state where you may not necessarily be like the channel is in front of you, where he is allowing us to speak through him. You are receiving guidance, you are receiving understanding, you are receiving all around states of being that are germane to being in that state of knowing, living in such a state of existential knowingness and openness to what is. It's beyond just the idea of maybe this might happen. It's more of the idea you know these things will happen, so you act in accordance. The state of knowing is synonymous with the state of action. So we would say to you today that when you know something to be true, act on it from a positive place. Do not allow these negative things that might be in your background world to stop you from fully experiencing who you are and what you are. Be open to the ideas and the ways that you live, and knowing that you receive guidance at all times and all places with all people that you interact with, to know whether you are in or out of alignment all days and all places and all times.
Thank you for my notes. Oh, yeah, my notes on action. Thank you very much for this, Ethan. Last week, or when a moment, a relative moment ago, we spoke of to give yourself a second chance. So I've given myself a second chance, and now I'm free to be in the flow, to be in a state of knowing, to allow flow. Therefore, I can act and physicalize, manifestize my thoughts. Yes.
Yes, but you're doing that all the time. It's
Yes.
more like the idea if it is a pure instinct that your body and yourself moves in sync, like a dance, like pure rhythm, where you are allowing yourself to move to the timing of what is right for you in the moment.
Yes. Thank you.
This is
And
why I deliver the information and ask you to come from a state of yes, where you're open to allowing yourself to experience things.
yes. Thank you. And I guess we do live in a state of knowing, but perhaps not so conscious of it or making a point of to always be in a state of knowing.
Well, if you are coming from a pure state of knowing, you don't have to act from it. You just know you are in that pure state of knowing. You act from a place of, I am acting on my excitement. I am acting on the things that are germane to me as a person in all times and all places. It does not matter what is happening in front of me. I will do it right, what is right for me in the moment. I will not act in a negative way towards others. I will allow myself to be what is right for me and others. And listen to that internal guidance that shows up in all times, in all places, in all situations.
Thank you. Would it be possible for someone to believe they're in a state of knowing and listening to guidance, but actually they listen to another entity or their ego?
Yes, but that is not truly living in a state of knowing. When you come from a place of belief, just pure belief, usually your ego will get in the way. When you act from a place of pure knowing, your ego never can and or will be able to get in the way because it is such a high frequency, such a high state of being that you do not allow those things because it cannot get in the way of the trueness and the specificity of what is germane to your particular frequency at that moment because you are in sync with your higher mind and your higher self.
Yes, thank you. I see what you mean. I would also imagine that instead of knowing, you will feel well. You will wake up when you need to. You will sleep when you need to. You'll not overeat. Your body will function to its highest and purest abilities.
Yes, you know what is right for you. You do not allow yourself to be in a state where you overeat. Many times when people overeat, they're coming from a place of feeling like they lack, like they do not have enough to actually survive. So therefore, they must get everything they possibly can.
Thank you. Yeah, I would be the first to admit to going that way, that route.
But this is the idea of that you think you lack anything in your life. You
Yeah,
think you have to get others to give you things because you don't believe you can manifest it on your own. If you need to have something in your life, you will manifest it.
thank you.
But
Thank
if you
you.
have the understanding and the knowingness that you are enough, that you will receive whatever you need, if it doesn't show up in your life because you are in a state of knowing the way you act, you know that everything shows up exactly when it needs to. Not a moment sooner, not a moment later.
Thank you, Ethan. At what point were there enough of us being in a state of knowing that the rest of us can join, that the domino effect takes everyone with them?
It's not about taking them with you. You shift yourself to a version of Earth that more reflects the vibration that you are putting out. You are not taking anyone anywhere.
I see. So in that version, there'll be more people in a state of knowing.
Yes,
Okay.
it's germane to that particular reality that you have shifted into by acting from that particular level of understanding, that level of knowing that you are doing everything that you need to in the moment.
Thank you. Ethan, the month of June is upon us, started yesterday.
Yes.
And I wanted to know if you would have any message for June for us or comment about the June energies incoming, specifically with relation to today's subject of being in a state of knowing.
As we are on your day of June 2nd, we would say look at what the sign of June is. The idea of the Gemini, the idea of the masculine, the idea of the feminine, the two aspects, the two sides to your being. That is what you are being asked to look at this particular time in your astrology and energetically. You are moving past the state of belief to the idea and the knowingness of your being, of who you are as it applies to your reality in all moments.
Thank you. Do you mean that we are passing through the ideas of masculine and feminine to a new idea?
More embodying them as a pure frequency and a pure knowingness in your essence, in your connection to you and everyone else.
Thank you. That, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
We would say that all these questions are more along the lines of being in a state of knowing, allowing yourself to live in that frequency that you know what is right for you.
Yes. And being in a state of knowing means connected to your higher mind,
Yes,
consciously connected to it,
yes.
being one with it.
Integrating more of the idea of integrating that connection, having to be more active in your conscious life.
Yes. And I would assume from there you could access higher levels, for example, the soul group that you currently belong to, or the social vibrational structure of the groups you're part of.
Yes, that is why we are having these types of interactions to put you in the frequency. When you are constantly in a state where you can connect to that higher aspect of yourself, our frequency is that into itself. We mirror back to you the particular understanding that comes from being on that level. So we are showing you the level of conviction, the level of understanding, the level of knowingness as to what it is like living from that particular place. It's a particular level of confidence that comes with it because you know these things to be true.
Thank you. That's very, very good. I like the word conviction. Okay, I have some questions here, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, there's a question from Mary. What kind of music can we hear for detoxification? What can you tell us about music?
The idea of music in your popular culture is slightly off frequency. It is not quite tuned properly to facilitate a clean connection. It was soured in the past, and the standard tuning is just like soured milk. It is not quite there, per se. So the idea of allowing yourself to move out of the standard tuning to more of a 532 A, allowing yourself to fully sit in a tone, a pure essence tone of frequency, and allow yourself to be in that for at least 15 minutes at a time. It will detoxify your system and will drive things to the surface that are hidden. So if you are going through the process of listening to this particular tone, this particular type of frequency, and allowing it to integrate into your system, those things that pop up when you are in that state and allowing those particular frequencies to come to the surface, you are detoxifying your system. But they are in a place where you need to deal with them. Because if you do not deal with them, they will still be there, even if you listen to it for that lovely time. But allow yourself to fully integrate that part of yourself that you do not quite like about yourself. Understand it is part of you. Be okay with it. Yes, the event happened. Yes, those people were not as nice as they could have been. But know that anything that does come to the surface is there for you to deal with and integrate.
Thank you, Ethan. You're referring to the music being tuned to 532 hertz, correct?
Yes,
I have seen and listened to music 532 hertz on YouTube. Would those be helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
You have the ability as a culture, as a people, with where your collective is now, to be able to actually access this type of information without necessarily need to buy anything, but giving yourself the opportunity to decide if it's right for you.
Yes, absolutely. We can test almost anything we want.
Yes. You just have to have the willingness to go look.
Yes. Are musical instruments also slightly out of tune in that fashion?
Many of them, not all. Some of the instruments that you have around today are tuned to the more 532 frequency, but as it stands now, the standard tuning is not quite there.
I see. Thank you. Edom, I wanted to ask you some of the channelings that came across while I was scrolling on the YouTube speak of event, and that event will be a sort of a rolling event where the veils will be lifted for people in various ways and experiences, but they'll be able to basically access their higher minds freely and access past or concurrent lives freely and see the greater view of the universe as you revealed to us.
Yes,
Is that something that is happening? Is it sort of an event where a lot of people will be affected in a relatively short amount of time, or is it just ongoing?
you are going through the event currently. It's being revealed to you on a case by case basis by person at every moment. Remember, all these types of ascensions that you are all going through as a species and as a planet, this is individualized to each person.
Yes. So by individualized to each person, you mean that each person will receive their ascension in slightly different fashion to fit with their lives or belief systems.
Yes. What good would it be to receive something that's meant for someone else?
Right. But it's not like that everyone will have the same experience.
No, not at all.
But
Why would
those
you why would you want to receive something that is meant for someone else? It is not your gift. It'd be like going to Christmas time of your on your world and not and getting what the toy or the gift that was meant for your dad when you're 5 years old.
I see what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. I guess we were just so used to society where everybody gets the same toy from the store, everybody watches the same news, so you you always want to know if it's individualized or not.
Each person that is meant to have an experience of ascension and a connection to their higher self, because you can never be disconnected from your higher self. It's just you have defined that particular connection as to be something outside of your ability to receive. Allow yourself to receive the gift of your higher self, the higher aspect of yourself, the part of you that knows all of what you're supposed to do in your life.
Thank you. Um, I heard about a group or a race called the Titak. Are you familiar with them?
No,
Okay. Uh,
but if you
so,
ask us questions, we might be able to deliver information.
would you be able to deliver any information about the Titak? They're speaking of remaining in duality, unity of galactic civilizations. These are my notes for the Titak.
The particular beings, because you have asked the question, have opened up to the idea of letting you know what it is like to live in the galactic civilization, understanding that you are unified, that you'll not lose your individuality as a person, but know that you belong to a collective and belong to a larger civilization out among the stars. Your star family, is there to guide and open you up to more aspects of yourself all of the time in all of the places in perfect timing.
Thank
That
you.
is what they would like to say.
Thank you. When I heard the phrase that they remain in duality, does that mean that they have a physical life with an ego, but they're also connected to the higher mind at the same time?
Yes, they are still in physical reality, but they are also part of the Galactic Alliance.
And would us humans reach that state next or soon?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But you cannot truly stay in duality once you move to that level. You will progress quite quickly when you progress up to that level where you do not see yourself as separate from anything else. This is also coming from a state of knowing because you know that you are not separate from anything in the reality that you exist in at any moment.
Right, right. I mean, can you even be in a state of knowing if you don't realize that you connected?
Not truly.
Not really.
You are more coming from the state of ego where you do not allow yourself to be fully integrated.
Right. Thank you. Once someone is fully integrated, they have access to their own concurrent or past lifetimes.
This can happen even before you become fully integrated.
In what way? How
You
does that
just
happen?
need to be more open to the idea that you are connecting to those things. You use your imagination to receive the particular information from other incarnations, because understand it does change from moment to moment, but you
Yes.
will always be connected to the particular lifetimes that are germane to who you are in that moment, to what reality you are deciding you would like to experience, what reality is most important for you to shift through every moment.
Right. I read a book by Edgar Casey once, and it was called something like "You Can Remember Your Past Lives." And he was
Yes.
suggesting a very similar technique to what you've just said. He said to basically to go to a state of like a slight meditation of sort, and to imagine an environment where it feels familiar, and to explore that even further, whether it's in your imagination or draw it. And those things that feel familiar, those are the things to explore further. Probably they come from past or concurrent life times.
Yes. You
Okay.
are familiar with the particular frequency for so it's much more easy for you to draw on the information from those particular incarnations while they draw on information from you.
So when we say, thank you, and when we say someone has a knack for example, someone is good with their hands and a good mechanic,
Yes.
and they've always liked it since they're young children. Does that mean that perhaps in a previous lifetime they're also good with their hands in a mechanical kind of way?
Not previous life, in another connection, another incarnation, they are drawing on the information from that particular lifetime to give them the ability to have the technical skills that allow them to be a virtuoso, as you would say, because
Hmm.
they have a pre understanding of how to work with those particular things, those particular objects. It's familiar. So therefore, they are able to just move into having the ability to do those things.
Thank you. Okay, very good. So someone who's an engineer currently could be concurrently another type of engineer.
Yes.
Okay.
You have the idea of having jobs, correct?
Yes.
You have the idea of learning skills from previous employers, previous jobs that you have had in the past, correct?
Yes.
Same thing.
I see
You
what
never
you mean.
lose the understanding or skills that you have in any lifetimes. You may not necessarily have an aptitude in a particular lifetime that is not relevant for you to have those skills, So therefore, you will block yourself from having a particular pathway that you have had in other lifetimes because you are focusing on something else in this lifetime or another.
Thank you. I see what you mean.
It's dynamic. It is not static as they would have you believe, as I lived 300,000 years in the past. I was this space. I was this species. You will only make those connections in the moment because they are always in the moment to another incarnation that is relevant for you that you need to experience or connect with or bring skills or information from.
Thank you. And all these connections still preserve the principle of free will.
Yes, they are other people. They are not you specifically. The oversoul can say that is all those people, but you specifically are only for you. It is active and in the moment. It is not the idea of I was 300 years in the past. I was this, I was that. The oversoul can say this, but you cannot. You are making a connection to that other person, but that other person is still just that other person. It is never just you.
Right. Right, right, right. Thank you. I have a question from Mary here.
Yes.
After the World War One, humanity made a step forward. Why
Yeah.
was there the Second World War shortly afterwards? And after World War Two, humanity didn't make such a path forward.
You didn't make a big enough step forward after the first time.
So another slap was required.
Yes. You are and have been kind of flirting with the idea of having another world war at this time. But this is having trouble manifesting because no one in your world currently truly wants to have that type of experience again.
Yeah, I sense it too. I don't believe we'll have another world war.
No, you won't.
No.
But you are moving through these particular ideas, as we have stated many times to you when you have asked these questions in the past, through past transmissions, of the idea of war, of destroying everything, of going through the idea of destruction in your world, because you are moving past these particular ideas and moving to more of a state of connection and peace long term. But war itself actually does serve a purpose. The idea of evolution happens quite often more rapidly when you are going through the idea of friction. That is what war is. It is helping your civilization to decide whether or not it would like to continue with the idea of war.
Yes, absolutely.
So, right now, you are going through the idea of friction. You are deciding what kind of world you would like to live on. What kind of ideas have been entrenched in your people that you are deciding, would you like to have this on the world you would love to live on? This is where knowing comes in. When you know this is why these things are happening, it's giving you a chance to decide for yourself.
Very good. Thank you. And I do see already quite a bit of talk for the day after how people want to live their lives. And I see a lot of evidence that people are structuring in local communities that can feed themselves on small farms and so on. So you can see that direction is growing quite a bit.
Yes, this is why you have been going through this very intense, dramatic energy for years at this point. So you can decide what kind of world you would like to live in.
Yes, yes. And we've definitely reached that point that people are talking about that more, probably more than anything else.
Yes. The
That's
idea
good.
of your politics, your governments, you're going to have to go through a period of trying to decide if the government is there to serve you or are you there to serve the government. That is what these kind of periods are there for. You must be able to build a world that matches the vision that you have in your mind. Be able to come from a place of knowing when you are integrating and also connecting to others.
Yes, absolutely. And I can see how in the state of knowing, anything that is not knowing, anything that is not, that is ego, will just fall away. It just cannot exist together with knowing.
Yes, because when you are coming from the state of pure ego, you do not know. You come from a state of pure, unadulterated, negative ego that needs to control things. Because when you are coming from that particular state, you don't know anything. You are disconnected from your higher mind. So therefore, you are like in the dark or roaming around in a room with a blindfold on. You are not fully engaged in your full being.
Right. What would happen, and I might have asked this before, but we have some new people here. What would happen to those who stay in a state of ego and separation when more and more of us, or most of us, are in a state of knowing?
Those particular people who choose, those beings that choose to stay in that particular state, they will shift to a version of Earth that matches that vibration and that frequency that they would like to live in.
Would we still see them or interact with them?
You'll see a version of them, but eventually the versions that show up in your reality will be more conducive and more match the state of being that is in alignment with the particular frequency that you're putting out. Because you are moving to higher levels, you cannot remain in those particular states that you are referring to.
Right. Okay, thank you. I've got a couple of questions here. One question from Nai G. Hello, Ethan. I'm curious about the former actor Terrence Howard, who claims to have cracked a code that Pythagoras couldn't or apparently didn't. Is there legitimacy to this?
To a point. He, at that level, is actually more coming from a state of ego when he believes he is greater than those that have come before him, that he has figured out all these things that no one else could. This is more coming from the idea of your ego, the negative ego, the one that decides that it is better than everyone else because he is small in his understanding, because of the way he had been treated in prior incidences. He had to distinguish himself in his connection to show that you have lost out on what I have to give.
Thank you.
You do understand that the idea of LA is a very egocentric place, correct?
Very much, yes. I've been there.
Well, he lives in this place. When you are surrounded by a particular type of energy, and the kind of connection that he is having is very ungrounded in nature because it is coming from a very egocentric place, he is connecting to those particular energies, but in a very ungrounded way. So he is not receiving a fully integrated version of that knowledge.
I see what you mean. Interesting you say that about LA, because my friends that used to live in LA, they all moved out around 2012
Yes?
for the same reasons you just mentioned.
Yes. We
Yes,
do not say these things on accident.
of course. Here's a good one. Mary is asking, what happens to the personality and ego when a person dies?
You move back to your higher mind. You shift back to the oversoul, and it returns that particular information in that particular lifetime back into the whole of your oversoul.
So thank you. So it's as if myself or Mary passed, or anyone, our essence and knowledge and experience will be stored with the oversoul?
Yes, nothing's ever lost.
Right. And we're not really if everything is concurrent and happening now, perhaps only this perspective goes with the death, but it's still there, isn't it?
Yes, you never lose anything.
Right.
Besides, when you go into the idea of non physicality, it's not really death, as you classically term it in your society and your world. You still exist, you just exist in a more fulfilled form that you do not exist in on your current level. All those people that died, all those animals that died, that transitioned, the idea of death itself is not real.
Right. Um, maybe passing is a better term.
Transition.
Transition. Thank you.
Much in the way that me and my civilization transition between the idea of being fully solid and physical to the idea of being fully in spirit. So we are quasi physical.
Right. And when I transition, um, that energy is still there, correct?
Yes, you are still there right now.
Right. Okay, very good. I have a question here. I believe you mentioned to make these more particular, but I'll ask it and you can comment. Rico Sigma, how many chakras do I have, and is any of them blocked?
How many chakras do you have? You have the idea of 7 to 13, depending on which system that you are going with. The particular chakra system, we would ask if you're having a particular area where you are feel like you're being blocked, whether it be interpersonally, whether it is having things not show up, feeling disconnected. We would ask these types of information to be delivered in the questions, because this would more easily help us facilitate the delivery of information. When we say specifics, we mean what do you feel blocked with? Because that will give us a better understanding of how to help you deliver the information to unblock a particular chakra. You all have those chakras all over your body all the time.
Thank you. Perhaps a few words about what is a chakra?
A chakra is a particular energy vortex in your body. You have 7 major vortexes along the spine, from the base of your spine, which is your root chakra, which is how you connect to your world, to your navel, which is your second chakra, which is how you connect to others and your relationships with others. Your solar plexus is where you gain the idea of manifestation into the world. How do you connect? How do you create? The idea of your heart is a chakra. It is that connection that is unfiltered to your higher self, that brings in energy to your full being. That is how the channel is able to connect with us. He makes a heart centered connection that allows us to vibrate together. Your throat is a chakra as well. This controls your ability to speak and how you express yourself in your world. Your third eye, which has been shown on your money, that you're being shown how to focus on, which is why it is on the American money in particular. This deals with your vision. This deals with your ability to see what is in your world, and see what is in front of you, whether it's a lie or whether it's truth. The idea of your crown chakra, the that exists just above your head, is how you receive guidance from your higher self at all times. Then, if you even move beyond that, it's the idea of the galactic chakra. It's how you connect to outer space. You connect to the sun. You connect to the different parts of the universe. It's how you receive the information from those places.
Thank you very much for this.
Yes.
Anyone can lie down and relax and focus on their chakras one by one and scan themselves and receive messages.
Yes. We do not give you information all the time because it may not necessarily be for us to give. When you have the ability to find the information yourself instead of having to go outside of yourself, this is a form of knowing. When you know you can connect to who you are and what you're going through in that moment, you don't necessarily need to ask for guidance from outside of yourself when your body is giving you guidance in that moment.
Yes, very true. Um, there is something wonderful and magical in the state, in being in a state of knowing, because it is magical. It needs no permission. It's based on absolute truth, unequivocal truth that you just cannot deny.
Yes. The idea of in your past religions that you needed a priest to connect to the divine. These are merely beings that have chosen to take on the role, but ultimately, you as a being are your priest, are your God. You are the conduit for your higher self to experience physical reality.
Yes, absolutely. Uh, I, I will say from personal experience, perhaps the greatest challenge that people are running into, myself included, is to let go of the idea that I need permission, that I need someone to grade me with A or B or whatever, but to trust the heart, to be in a state of knowing,
Yes.
to allow for all the magic to unfold for me and for everyone around me.
When you can fully do this, you understand the idea of graduation, correct?
Yes.
Moving to a new level. Well, you're in the graduating class currently. You are moving through the idea of karma, of beliefs, of energy that has followed you from incarnation to incarnation, saying, I have not quite dealt with this particular topic. When you know that you can receive the guidance from your higher mind, your higher self, and act from that place of knowing you have received it, you will always connect to what you need to connect to in the moment.
Thank you very much. And I believe many of us are in this graduating class, and therefore you're here.
Yes, that is exactly
Yes,
why you are all here currently.
right. That's good. Thank you. Rico Sigma is asking, saucer UFO sighting with green lights in Saudi Arabia? Question mark. Which civilization? Question mark.
That is a hybrid ship. All of the ships that you are seeing around your planet currently that are making mass appearances in different spots around your world, many times they are alliance ships, part of the Federation. They are here to help, to guide, to give you a chance to decide what it means to you. Or it could be surveying something, it could be observing a particular environment that it needs to show up more physically for.
I see. It has to materialize in order to um, do something, scan something.
Yes,
The ships that materialize or show themselves for the purpose, not for the purpose of maybe scanning, but for the purpose of elevating, helping ascension, do they also send some sort of energy out?
yes. What do you think we are doing correctly currently?
Yes,
Why do you think we are all showing up here and now?
right. It seemed like a preparation.
Yes, it's all preparation until it's reality.
Yes. To me, it feels like it's a preparation. It is right now done on perhaps large scale, but it seems to me as a small scale, just because myself and the channel and a handful of people on the live right now, and perhaps a couple hundred later, but it probably happens over and over again so many times that we don't notice. But perhaps millions of people are now being contacted in such way as we are doing now.
Your whole world is being collected, not contacted, not just humans.
More than before?
Yes, but you're just observing more than before because you have more of an observant and you are more on a level where you can actually observe those ships more openly and easily. They were always there. They were just on a higher frequency than you could observe at that time.
Okay. I see what you mean. So we have raised our frequency to the point we can once in a while see those ships. Before we couldn't because our frequency wasn't there.
Yes, you are at a level now where it's more obvious to you what's already there.
Right. It's always there, but we can see it now. Okay, very good. Thank you. One of the channels I listened to this week spoke of a larger sighting event in August. Is this something in particular, or just like they're just gonna keep happening?
It's going to be a large enough event that it cannot be denied, but it is not the main event that will spark off full open contact with us.
Yes, the main event a few years to come, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
We did say in a previous channel that this event was going to happen in August around your Perseids meteor shower.
Yes, you have. How is the meteor shower connected to seeing other crafts?
You are at a time and place where many people are looking up to the sky to watch the show, as it were. Why not have a mass sighting at that time? It is a time and place where it is easy to have enough people that see this without being able to be denied en masse.
Thank you very much. So, okay. So they're gonna look for the meteor shower, and they're gonna see other things as well, some crafts.
Yes. You are
Yes.
not having these types of events that you have been having occurred on accident around your world, correct?
Sorry, come again?
You have the idea of the eclipse. You have the idea of the solar storm that brought the northern lights down to lower latitudes.
Yes.
You are going to have another event soon,
Yes.
and another one, and another one. All these events are getting you to look up and see what's right in front of you.
And the old types of solar events.
Yes, from the stars.
Yes, thank you.
So why not have the stars come down to meet you in a very positive way?
Very good. Is there anything we could do to prepare for this August meteor shower?
Come in at a very open state and be willing to understand that what shows up for you, if it is a ship, is there to say hi and see if you're ready for more contact. Be in an open state of knowing, of allowing yourself to be open to receive in whatever form shows up.
Thank you. Would people once experience this have instantaneously raised their frequency to perhaps be able to connect with the higher mind in a way they haven't been able before?
Remember, it's always a case by case basis. Each person will have an individualized experience. Some will see the fleet coming to take over Earth, and some will see it as a friendly neighbor coming to say hi.
I see what you mean.
You're
Okay,
not
true.
all experiencing the exact same reality. Remember this. Nothing that you're experiencing from one person to another is exactly the same. So it is on a case by case basis.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's something to look forward to.
Be okay with what shows up.
Right. Thank you. The channel texted me, live in a state of knowing, earlier in the week, and I said, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to be it, and I'm going to be in a state of knowing. So I have been ever since, and it's been a wonderful experience. Things happened absolutely perfectly.
Yes, this is a prime example as to why the information and the topic was delivered to him at the time. So the people who watch this particular transmission have a example of what it's like to have that.
Yes.
Everything happens exactly on its own timing.
Yes. And I guess once you've delivered the title, the work begins right away. The
Yes,
process begins.
you never stop going through the process, going through the understanding, growing, changing. It may appear like it on the surface that you are not growing, but in all moments you are growing as a being, as a soul, as a physical human. You are going through these experiences to help you grow to a higher frequency so you can interact with more beings and more of yourself at all times. We do not wish to dominate you in this sense, but we wish to deliver the information that allows your civilization and our civilization to expand in our understanding of the universe, of reality, of many different realities, because there are infinite varieties out there for us to explore and for you to explore at all times.
Thank you very, very much for today.
Yes. Good day.
Good day.